They amplified a false conclusion that Trump colluded with Russia in 2016. We had to spend years dealing with that. And now we're actually getting investigation, and you're saying, no, you know what? You guys should just move on. You guys should just move. Don't you say the same effing thing about Biden's brain. And you can bring up Epstein all you want. We, unlike Democrats, we can handle 2 things, 3 things, 4 things at once.
Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, no. Have you been listening to the right lately? The right is more on top of Epstein than the Democrats are. The Democrats never cared about Epstein until they saw a political motivation. The right was into the Epstein story because women were being sex trafficked. We actually cared. But now you're like, ooh, Epstein, a political angle. Ooh, this is fantastic.
As you can see, things got heated on Fox News' The Five after Jessica Tarloff called BS on Tulsi Gabbard's wild accusation that Barack Obama deliberately misled the public about Russian interference in the 2016 election, which Trump won. Here's what Tarloff said that set him off.
This is such old news. It's beyond comprehension that we're talking about. And I understand that this Epstein situation is very tricky for the administration. And day by day, it gets worse and worse and worse. But they are pulling out all of the greatest hits to try to inflame the minds of their most, conspiracy theory addled base so that they hear Brennan, Clapper, Obama, Hillary, and they get activated. And suddenly they won't be mad at Trump anymore for not releasing the Epstein files.
This is the crux of Tulsi Gabbard's press conference and the narrative the Trump administration is trying to spin. And Fox News is following the marching orders to a T, rehashing all of these tired, played out claims from nearly a decade ago and pointing fingers at the Democrats. Just another sad attempt, y'all, from the administration to shift the base's attention away from the Epstein scandal onto some of their most hated enemies.
Fox has spent significantly more time talking about Obama than Epstein over the last few days. Yesterday alone, they mentioned the ex-president more than 120 times, which is 3 times as much as they talked about Epstein. Stories out there, whether they like it or not. It has been for a while, at least going back to last month when FBI Director Kash Patel was forced to avoid a question about Elon Musk's claim that Trump is in the Epstein files the month after Patel told Trump he was in the Epstein files.
Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. Jesus Christ.
I'm not participating in any of that conversation.
What? How does he know? Does he know that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files? Or does he have access to the Epstein files?
I don't know how he would, but I'm just staying out of the Trump-Elon thing. That's way outside my lane.
This whole situation with the Obama conspiracy theory and the Epstein cover-up is a perfect example of how Trump and the Republicans want both our media and government to operate. Blind loyalty to those in power and a complete disregard for the truth. And I mean a complete disregard for any type of truth or any type of facts.
You referenced the past intelligence reports and assessments on this, including that 2017 one that was signed off, as Ed noted, by every Republican on the Senate Intelligence Community, including the acting chair of the time, now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who said in a statement that they did not find any evidence of Russian collusion, but they did find, however, is very troubling, and they found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling. One, are you saying that he's wrong in that statement that he made then? And secondly, what would you say to people who believe that you're only releasing these documents now to improve your standing with the president after he said that your intelligence assessments were wrong?
Well, first, I want to correct something that you stated, which was citing the Senate Intelligence Committee's report as being one and the same. I think you said the intelligence community. The Senate Intelligence Committee has a very different function than the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The evidence and the intelligence that has been declassified and released is irrefutable. I'm going to let Caroline speak to Secretary Rubio.
I'll speak to both questions. First, on Secretary Rubio, he put out a statement in 2020 following that Senate Intelligence Committee report, and he said what they found is troubling. We found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling, which the Director of National Intelligence just confirmed for all of you, that Russia was trying to sow distrust and chaos. But what's the outrage in this that Secretary Rubio did not say at the time, the Democrats were saying at the time, is the fact that the intelligence community was concocting this narrative narrative that the president colluded with the Russians, that the president's son was holding secret meetings with the Russians, all of these lies that were never true. And he also said at that time, we discovered deeply troubling actions taken by the FBI under Comey, particularly their acceptance and willingness to rely on the Steele dossier without verifying its methodology or sourcing. The Steele dossier that many outlets in this room ran as the gospel truth, and it was cooked up and paid for by the Clinton campaign. As for your second question, Caitlin, I think who is saying that she would release this to try to boost her standing with the president? Who has said that?
Well, the president has publicly undermined her when it came to Iran. He said she was wrong. He told me that she didn't know what she was talking about. That was on Air Force One on camera.
The only people who are suggesting that the Director of National Intelligence would release evidence to try to boost her standing with the president are the people in this room who constantly try to sow distrust and chaos amongst the president's cabinet, and it is not working. I will just answer your question directly. I am with the President of the United States every day. He has the utmost confidence in Director Gabbard. He always has. He continues to, and that is true of his entire cabinet, who is all working as one team to deliver on the promises this president made.
What we're witnessing with this whole situation is a hallmark of authoritarianism, because Trump is effectively telling his base of support to ignore all information that conflicts with the allegations being thrown around, and only to trust whatever the administration's position is.
The most disputed part of that assessment is this judgment. Putin and the Russian government aspired to help President-elect Trump's election chances. The materials that she released today were part of a report drafted by the Republican staff of the House Intelligence Committee in 2017. That staff included at the time Kash Patel, now the FBI director. And it questioned the analysis leading to that judgment of Putin's preferences. It includes a discussion, problematically, according to some, of highly sensitive raw intelligence shared by a human source working with the CIA about Putin's intentions. And it questions the motivations of that source, whether the source had an anti-Trump bias, and said that there should have been more sources relied upon in deriving, again, that judgment. The Senate Intelligence Committee with a voluminous bipartisan report, Special Counsel Robert Mueller, Special Counsel John Durham, and most recently the CIA under John Ratcliffe, President Trump's nominee to lead the agency. Not one of them changed anything fundamental about the assessment or even said anything about the credibility of the source.
On the Intelligence Committee community, I think they did their assessment of 2016 is accurate. It's 100% accurate. The Russians interfered in our elections.
Chairman, my views are that Russia meddled in or interfered with active measures in 2016. They interfered in 2018.
Russia did not alter the vote tallies, did not mess with voter rolls, did not interfere in the actual voting process itself. But she then uses that conclusion, that term hack, to say, but then how could they say, how could the intelligence community say in January 2017 that Russia sought to influence the election? And Chris, as you know, as your viewers know, there's a big difference between hacking the election, that is to say actually changing votes, changing voter rolls, tallies, and influencing the election, using propaganda, using social media bots, using social media ads to try to change the attitudes of the American people.
Trump nor anyone in his administration legitimately cares about delivering the truth to the American people. What they care about is doing whatever is necessary, whatever is possible, so that they can stay in power in perpetuity. Okay? Because that's what it comes down to, making sure that they are the rulers for as long as possible, that they could be the rulers forever, and that they pass it down on the people who followed their script, who followed their orders. But hopefully that won't be the case. For Rebel HQ, I'm Chris Williamson. We'll see you next time.